What's up? Ryan Kohler here with Refer.io, and today we're going to talk about how to level up your recruiting strategy. More specifically, what the number one thing is that you can do to make a massive improvement in your results, both the quantity of applicants, the quality of applicants, your speed and efficiency and effectiveness at getting to the right people quickly. And it's not what you think it is. It's not more job boards. It's not more money. It's actually better content. Now, let me explain what I mean by this. When we think about kind of recruiting success and we look at our current situation, there's kind of two main paths to take to improve your results. On the left is kind of the default path, which is throwing money at the problem and hoping or believing that it will solve it. And while money may give us a short-term bump in results, it's easy to match, and overall the marketplace will match that spend, and it will come back down and become less and less effective over time. More importantly, the average business, small business, underdog business, whatever the case may be, most of the people that I work with don't have enough money to outspend their bigger competitors in the space. And so the opposite of this is to be more creative and engaging, and that usually comes down to content. And it starts with number one, committing to leave the status quo, to stop doing what those bigger Goliaths in your industry are doing, stopping doing what you've always been doing, and start proactively and strategically taking a different path, right? And that leads us to number two, having the right strategy, which comes down to creativity and empathy, and creating engaging content that outlines our culture, our experience, and our offering, so that we end up telling our story in an authentic way via our career site, the job boards, ads, emails, etc. That's kind of the first tier, the first step that most organizations are missing out on. And I'll show you how I get to that. If I jump over into Indeed here, I think I was running a search right here, run a search for a restaurant server in Utah, and I start looking down through the results, and just ask yourself this one question of, if say, aw shucks, aw sushi is a great place to work, how would I know? As a job seeker, as somebody outside of the company, even if I've been a customer there and I know that maybe they create great food, how would I know they're a great place to work? Look at this right here. They don't have any reviews. I bet if I click on their employer page, it probably hasn't even been claimed before. If I click on why join us, there's no information about it. They have claimed their profile, but there's literally no logo, no why join us, no information, no answers to questions, no reviews, no nothing here. Now, if you think about this as a restaurant, imagine if this was your Yelp page. Imagine if I went to Yelp and said, find me a sushi restaurant, and when the listing showed up, it was blank. There was no menu, no pictures, no information, no reviews, no nothing. What are the chances that I would go and try out that restaurant? Now, maybe if I had a coupon or something, I still may not be willing to spend my money and my afternoon eating there. But we're not talking about going out to eat. We're talking about applying and trying to get a job somewhere. Now, Indeed knows that this lack of good content here harms the job seeker experience. And so it's more than just an exercise of saying, what would a job seeker think? Indeed actually uses those core things of, have you claimed your profile? Is there information on it? Are there reviews? Are you answering questions? Do you have good job ads that actually engage job seekers and convert them? They actually use that in the algorithm to determine what jobs show up where. That's really important because as a job seeker, there's only so many jobs I'm going to read as I go down through this. Now, going back to this concept here of what shows up here, I can look at the next one. Solitude Mountain Resort actually has some reviews. Hey, that's much better. But when I once again look at the ad, this ad is all about the employer. It's literally just a job description. And down here at the bottom, they have some benefits and perks. But keep in mind, the likelihood that I got past all of this information to read it is pretty low. Simply put, as a job seeker, I probably landed here, read what was going on, realized this was just a job description, and didn't get to the bottom of the ad. It's kind of like lead with the story, lead with the hook, lead with what matters to the job seeker. And so once again, while Solitude may be doing a better job, there is actually content there. It's once again driven down to the bottom. Nobody actually cares about this stuff, right? Now, if I come through and I look at some of these others, somebody like PF Chang's, this is a national brand. They're much more known. They have high quantity of reviews, etc., etc. That's a little bit different. Once again, though, at least this group is leading with the story, right? Leading with benefits they offer, why you would want to work there. And so this is the first type of content. When we think about going back to Ahi right here, or Ah Shucks, you can see what's missing here is a lot of content, right? All of that stuff needs to be written out. It needs to be engaging, etc., etc., and most people don't have time for that. Now, it gets even worse when you have multiple locations with the same exact job title. You see, is restaurants we hire for the same job in all of our different locations. Hotels would do the same thing. Nursing homes would do the same thing. Anybody who has multi-locations does that thing. On the other hand, a lot of employers that don't have multiple locations post the same job in multiple locations, trying to expand their reach. Indeed doesn't like that. It's spamming, but unfortunately that means they also they throw kind of the restaurants under the bus in the same way when they post the same job with the same title, where all that's changing is the location. Now, stop for a minute and just ask yourself, why is it that employers don't change this? Why is it that we don't fix it? If we understand that our team loves working for us because of our culture and our values, and we spend our time in an interview or as we're negotiating to get somebody to come work for us to make our case to sell them on it, why don't our ads include this information? Why is it that we aren't leading with this? And it really comes down to the idea that most HR people, most managers don't actually believe that changing up that front piece will make an impact. Going back to our search results here, just assume that for every one applicant, here we are right here, you probably don't have this data. It was provided as we did a data study between Indeed and Applicant Pro, my old ATS company that I built. For every one applicant that lands in your inbox, 100 others ran a search where your job showed up in this list of results over here, where they either didn't, number one, see the job because it was ranked too low. Number two, they didn't click on the job because even when they saw it, it wasn't that interesting based off the title, based off of whatever the case may be. Or number three, they saw it, they clicked, but they didn't like what they read enough to actually apply. Those three things, it didn't show up in the search, didn't show up high enough in the search, wasn't engaging enough to actually click, read, and apply, are what hold us back from the 100 applicants we could get, and instead we're stuck with the one applicant that we do get. Now, once again, the problem comes that most people feel like it won't make an impact, which I've just told you it will. Number two, they don't have the time to actually go and rewrite all their job ads and create all that content. And number three, they aren't very good at it. Now, they're just not marketers. Now, when we think about this, to take it to the next level as we get more job specific, we have to start acting like a marketer. We segment our target audience. We build out job personas. We understand where our target job seekers are currently working, why they dislike working there, why coming to work for us would be an upgrade. And then we create substance. We create content that actually speaks to them and engages them. And trust me, your job description is not doing it. And copying what Olive Garden does isn't going to help you, because Olive Garden is a totally different situation. They're a national brand with brand power and recognition, etc., and you aren't. And then finally, we make sure that systems are in place to actually drive it. But how should we go about doing this, right? Well, number one, we could use ChatGPT. It's probably one of the most powerful tools I've ever seen, specifically when it comes to creating great content. And by great content, the way we measure it is it's unique, meaning it stands out, somebody who reads it, but it doesn't just stand out. It's relevant to the reader. It's compelling to the reader, and it's credible to the reader. In order to do this with ChatGPT, you basically have to become a prompt engineer. It means you need to study. I've spent about 3,000 hours now in ChatGPT. You need to understand how to get ChatGPT. You just can't go there and say, write me a job description for a server job. It doesn't work that way. What you're going to most likely get back is a boring job description. In fact, if we take and we actually test that out, we go over here to ChatGPT and we say, write up a job ad for a restaurant server at my sushi shop. Now I could actually, sorry I can't spell. I could actually grab the information about this company and say, I want to write it for this specific organization, right? And so now it's going to write up a job ad. Now, right off the bat, this is actually better than what was there before. But what you can see here is ChatGPT is at least giving some type of initial kind of piece. But once again, it's really not making the case for why I would want to work there. This entire ad, while it might sound a little better than a job description per se, this still has to do with the employer wants somebody who is passionate about providing exceptional dining experience, right? The employer is looking for this type of person. This is where this information right here is something that maybe the customer cares more about what they're known for, etc. This isn't about the job seeker and why they would want to apply. And so as a prompt engineer, I would come and I would rewrite this right here. I would go back and forth to get it to the point where it understands that when I say job ad, I mean a certain thing, I mean a certain flow, I mean etc. etc. But there are better ways to go about doing this, and I'm going to show you my new cool tool for it right here, which is called Refer Buddy. Refer Buddy is basically like having a prompt engineer, having me as your prompt engineer right there with you. Effectively, I can come in here and say, you know what, I want to actually create a job ad. I want to choose my employer. So for this instance, I might want to put in, the information about that given place. I might want to put in that employer, so I could put in Aw Shucks Ahi Sushi. I would need to add in some information about us. This would include what it's like to work here, what our benefits and perks are, etc., etc. I would want to actually add information about it. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and borrow this right here, right? And just put this, what we have to offer. This is very minimal information, right? But I'm going to save it there so that I'm able to use it in the future. If you want better results, then you need to actually answer the questions about who are we, where do we fit in the industry, what is our mission and vision, what are our core values, all that kind of information. But just using what I have right now, I can go ahead and choose this and say, you know what, I want to write an engaging job ad. I want to make the tone of voice witty. And I'm going to go ahead and just snag this job ad right here. Make sure I grab the information I want, take and copy and paste it into my extension here. Oh man, I lost my extension. Where was I? Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this in, and I'm going to generate an actual prompt. So I've now generated a prompt that I could copy, and I could paste it right into this thread right here. And you're going to see now it's going to write a very different job ad. Now it's going to write a job ad focused on the job seeker themselves. Why would they want to work for us? It's going to tell that, and again, this is based on minimal information. Clearly, I would want to provide it with more information about the company and what they have to offer, etc. But what you're going to see here is it's now writing a job ad that is from the perspective of the job seeker, something that they would actually want to do. And so using this tool, you can see here if I come back, and I'm going to come back into it. I shouldn't have closed it. I can come back at any time. I could choose a different job ad. Let's do a question-based job ad. I could choose a more friendly tone of voice. If I had saved that ad, it would be here. So I could actually say, you know what? I actually use this job all the time. And so I could come in here and store this restaurant staff, which I don't think is a good job title anyway, but we're going to put it in here. And I could save it for future use, so that I can now just choose it. Restaurant staff, hit generate. Now it's going to create me a different prompt. You can also see the way that this prompt is trained is that it's actually suggesting the next steps. Would you like to adjust the tone of voice? Would you like me to include specific information? Do you want me to write it shorter? Would you like me to create job screening questions? All of this stuff you're seeing right here is not default ChatGPT. This comes from a properly engineered prompt. I can also grab, so I'm just going to copy this thread here, and throw it in here and write a different version of the ad. Here we're using something that is a friendly tone of voice. We're using these questions where each heading is a question. Clearly when I posted it, I would remove the word heading, right? And so it's actually writing it. Over here you can see I have additional options. Make it longer, make it shorter, change the tone of voice, target a different persona, create job questions. I can go ahead and just copy this and paste it right in here. And this will include an entire prompt to create my job screening questions for my applicant tracking system when this gets done writing. And so you can see here, this is once again a different type of ad, but again, focused on the job seeker. And if you think about a job seeker looking at a job, the top one is kind of the elevator pitch, why you should want to keep reading the ad. That's the question we're answering. I clearly wouldn't post this, but this idea right here, right? If you're a fan of this, if you're looking for a chance to grow, then keep reading the ad. What's the job all about? Why are we a great place to work? How do you know if you're qualified? What are the benefits and perks? What are the next steps? And then again, all of our prompts that we engineer come with the, give me 5 things I could do next. I'm going to go ahead and just have it write for me my job questions. And so once again, I had borrowed or grabbed one of these additional options here, and it's now going to create me a list of screening questions for this job that I can put into my applicant tracking system. Multiple choice with knockouts, all that kind of stuff. So I've got kind of my main 3 questions here that I can use to knock people out. I have multiple choice for sorting and ranking. I have some open-ended questions I might want to ask. Again, if it's me, I want to reduce how hard it is to apply for the job, so I'm going to throw out the long application. I'll hold that until the point of interview. If you ask yourself, why do you want to see that? You might come up with a question that's something such as, how many jobs have you had in the last 3 years? And give them some options. And the option might be, I've had none because I just turned 16. Or it might be, I've only had one because I was in college, or whatever the case may be. But so what you can see here is this ability to do more and more stuff to get ChatGPT to write it for me. I'm going to go back over here and show you what some of the different things are that I could do. If I'm creating recruitment marketing content, that could be creating different job seeker personas based off of individual resumes. I could copy and paste in. I could say, create a job seeker persona. And I could copy and paste the resume of somebody that we love working for us and say, create a job seeker persona based on us targeting more people like this person with this same background. I might want to create a different job ad or job questions or a formal job description. Now that's just for writing ads. If I'm creating content for my career site or for my job board profile, I can do the same thing here by saying, hey, you know what? I want to create about us or employee testimonials or culture and value blog posts. All of this information in here will once again create prompts based off of you picking your company and then providing it any details that you have, such as a specific job seeker or a specific employee or a specific story that an employee told you. If I want to progress from there, now I've got a job ad, I've got applicants flowing, maybe I want to come in here and create some interviews. Again, most employers don't do a good job of creating screening questions because they don't have the time and they don't know what they should do. So once again, I can come in here and say, for my restaurant staff job, for this sushi shop, I want to create some sorting and ranking questions or screening interview questions that I'd use in my video interview, or selection interview questions, or follow-up interview questions, or behavioral value, all of these different things. So let's go ahead and choose a situational job interview questions. I actually want my tone of voice to sound like a real human is talking, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and hit generate, copy this thread, and throw it in here, and it's now going to engineer the prompt to create a series of situational job interview questions that I can use when I'm interviewing candidates for the job, right? Now, this is going to go ahead and write, again, I have options over here, more questions, longer questions, change the tone of voice, adjust for a specific candidate. If I was going to do that, I could click on it, paste it in here, and then paste in that candidate's resume or their answers to job questions or whatever the case may be. And so now you can see that there's no excuse for saying, well, I don't know how to write these questions, or I don't know how to write good job ads. ChatGPT will do it for you. Now we get to the last part here. And this last part says, what if we want to actually use ChatGPT to review candidates for us for a given job? And so in this instance, I can actually copy and paste somebody's resume or their job question answers right into this text box here, and it's going to do a resume review. If I did a video interview, I could download the transcript and paste it in there. If I had a live interview on Zoom, I could download the transcript from Zoom, paste it in and say, hey, I want you to create, review this interview. Give me the high points, give me the low points, all that kind of stuff. Once again, instead of having to learn how to become a prompt engineer, we're making it so it's just super simple for you to simply go through our training, plug in the information you want, jump from job to job, from area to area. We've got more of these little sections or buddies, we call them, coming out soon, which will include things to help you write correspondence, things to help you make the case to the manager why this job seeker's a great fit, write up a series of emails for me to send back, create a rejection email, an offer letter, whatever the case may be. Once again, ChatGPT is wildly powerful at creating content. The problem is it knows everything about everything but nothing about you. And one of the core things of prompt engineering is not making it broader, but making it more focused on a given topic, giving it more instruction on how to do it, and most importantly, providing it with context around your specific situation. And that really right there is the power of choosing this who are you and previously used information about a given job or a given role or something like that. It checks off those three things of saying I'm giving it very specific instructions to focus it in on what I'm trying to do. I'm giving it context about our company, our job, etc. And then I'm really giving it outline instructions of what I want to do and how I want to do it. Not just leaving it up to it to decide what a job ad is, but actually giving it some of our best practice recruitment marketing, job ad, writing frameworks, etc. So if you would like to learn more about using this, super cool. You can download it. We're adding new buddies and new prompt engineering pieces all the time. You will become an expert prompt engineer without ever actually cracking a book on ChatGPT. This same exact setup, just so you know, gives you a couple other things. Number one, if you're worried about your information being stored in ChatGPT, well, I can come in here to my settings and actually disable my history. Why would I want to do that? Well, by disabling the history, it means that content is not stored in ChatGPT. And that's okay because I'm able to recreate it on the fly anytime I want using ReferBuddy. Number two, I don't even have to use ChatGPT. If I go back here and say, you know what, I want to go ahead and write a job ad once again for restaurant staff, or maybe I want to switch this and say, we need a customer success product manager, but instead of I want to create an engaging ad, I go ahead and hit generate, but I don't want to use ChatGPT. Maybe I want to use Google's Bard, right? And so doing that, I can copy this thread and come over to Bard and paste that same exact prompt engineer into a different tool. So whether I want to use Bard or Claude or ChatGPT or Elon's new Grok, it literally doesn't matter. They all require the same thing, which is saying, I want to specifically have you act in a certain way. I want to give you context around my company, my jobs, etc., a resume, and I want to give you specific instructions of how I want you to respond and what I want you to do. You're going to see that the content and the way it writes it varies between, Claude and ChatGPT and Bard and Grok and all those things, which is great because I actually want to use different variations of my jobs. That's actually one of the benefits. Going back to the restaurant example here, one of the things that I would do if I was a restaurant is I actually wouldn't want to use just this one who are we. I would actually build one of these for each of my locations. I would take along with our benefits and culture and values and stuff, I would actually put in a section about the manager. I'd say, here's who you're going to be working for. Here's what their tone of voice is. Here's how they approach management. Here's, et cetera, et cetera. And the goal there being to make the job ads a little bit different for each location. It will feed variation into the job boards like Indeed or ZipRecruiter. Your results will go up. Your conversion will go up. Your rankings will go up. Everything will be better using a tool like this for recruitment marketing. If you think about the value this creates for an organization in repeatability, in creating content, especially when maybe you don't have a recruiter on staff. Maybe you don't even have an HR person there. It creates this ability to have expert level recruitment marketing content, creative in your tone of voice about your company, about a given job, literally with the snap of a finger. So if you want to learn more, hit me up. We'd love to talk to you. Otherwise, we'll see you soon.